Good morning and welcome to the 387th meeting of the BRTB. This meeting is being recorded. If anyone online experiences any difficulties, please send a message in the chat box. As any virtual BRT members turn on their cameras during the roll call for attendance, as well as for voting. I ask Ms. Rebecca Dabble to start the roll call to determine member participation.
Good morning, everyone. Annapolis, Anne Arundel County.
Present.
Thank you. Baltimore City. Baltimore County.
Here.
Thank you. Carroll County.
Here.
Harford County.
Here.
Howard County.
Here.
Queen Anne's County.
Here.
MDOT.
Here.
RTA of Central Maryland.
Here.
Thank you. MDOT MTA.
Here.
Thank you. Maryland Department of Environment. Maryland Department of Planning.
Here.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
FHWA.
Present.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Our first item is the approval of minutes from the July 26th BRTB meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Can I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes? Howard motions.
Baltimore County will second.
All right, that was Howard County for the motion and Baltimore County for the second. Are there any edits from the members? Okay. We will now vote on approval of the minutes. When your name is read, please indicate aye or nay.
Annapolis. Anne Arundel County.
Yay.
Baltimore City. Baltimore County.
Yay.
Thank you. Carroll County.
Aye.
Harford County.
Yay.
Howard County.
Aye.
Queen Anne's County.
Aye.
MDOT.
Aye.
And RTA of Central Maryland.
Aye.
Thanks.
Next is our public participation opportunity where we offer the public a chance to speak to the board. If anyone has comments or any of the action items to speak on, please wait for the item to be discussed. If there's anyone who wishes to address the board virtually at this time, please indicate in the chat box. Todd?
Chair, no one requested to speak prior to the meeting, and I'm checking right now, and no member of the public is requesting to speak to the board in the chat box.
All right, thank you. We now ask for the report on the public involvement activity from Louisa Glasanova.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. This will be short and sweet, so we'll start with just a quick overview on the next slide. So the summer is typically a slower period for us, so we have decreased number of engagement from the last time I presented to you all. But nonetheless, we have things upcoming. So between July and August of 2026, we had over 6,000 visitors to our public engagement site at yourregionyourvoice.org. We received 14 comments, and our primary focus this month has been to keep the public informed, even though we don't necessarily have a project to engage with. And we've been doing that primarily through emails, which I'll touch on a little bit later. So we still have a great open rate for those emails at 63%, and we have 32 new subscribers, so still trying to expand our reach there. And as I mentioned, we don't have a ton of participants within July and August, but we're going to be moving forward at that number soon. So yeah, we'll go on to the next slide. So our primary focus right now is gearing up for Region Next 2055. So this is envisioning the Baltimore region with safe, accessible, and affordable transportation options. As mentioned last time, this planning is really important to identify the changes and challenges that require big thinking and what's upcoming for the region. And so where we are currently is reviewing the submitted projects that were submitted in 2026 of spring. So we are scoring those candidate projects, and we anticipate posting a list of those submitted projects within the next few weeks on our website. Go to the next slide. So within the same sphere of those as the release of the projects, we're going to be releasing white papers as well over the next few months. So why we consider this important, we're going to basically be explaining in plain language and layman's terms what these topics are focusing on in a very short and concise way so that the public has an understanding of the priority of the BRTB, and so that we as a public engagement team can understand their thoughts and their opinions on the topics. So our first three that will be coming out in September, October, and November will be focused on air quality, safety, and transit. And as mentioned, these will be released monthly. So one at a time, understanding people's opinions. There will be a short survey that we'll be promoting for each of these topics. And as mentioned, we've been really focused on our newsletters this summer. So we've been sending out our active transportation newsletter, which is looking at all bike and pedestrian safety matters. And so that's been very popular for us this summer in the warm months. We've also been doing our BRTC newsletter, which will be wrapping up shortly from the BMC side of things. And then lastly, we've been doing the Baltimore or Be More Involved, which is our public involvement opportunities for the region outside of the BRTB option. So these have been really well received, and we're increasing our reach and engagement on our newsletters consistently. Next slide. And then as always, we'll just plug the transportation course. So if anyone is interested in being a voice for our community within the regional transportation planning field, we invite them to join the transportation course. So we're still accepting applications. I can send out that link, or if you're interested, you can scan the QR code and apply today, and we'll send you more information. As mentioned, we have a couple upcoming projects in the fall, so stay tuned for more. But if you have any questions on what we've been doing in the summer, feel free to reach me via cell or email. And thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hearing no questions, okay. So we now ask for a report on the July meeting of the Joint Technical Committee and Interagency Consultation Group meeting from Miss Angie Daniel.
Thanks, Trey. Good morning, everyone. The technical committee meeting members weighed in on 2 action items at the August meeting. The first was an amendment to the 2026-2029 and 2027-2030 tips for 2 MDOT SHA projects in Anne Arundel County. Second was a resolution to adopt targets for 3 measures in the federally required CMAQ performance plans. Members considered both items, and the resolutions were approved to move forward to BRTB. Next, we had a presentation from the consultant team from FAIR and Peers. They provided an overview of the Crash Data Analytics Telematics Review project that will conclude in September. The team reviewed project tasks, including a survey of each BRTB jurisdiction, review of telematic vendors, and recommendations for appropriate vendors that could meet local needs. The survey captured data needs, analytical capabilities, barriers to integrating telematics data into safety planning, and priorities for selecting a vendor. A total of 34 telematic vendors were evaluated using a range of criteria, and the top 5 were presented. We then had a presentation from Charlene Mingus, and she gave an informative presentation on the recently completed Patapsco Regional Greenway graphic identity and sign guidelines. She will give a similar presentation this morning. For UPWP updates, the BMC staff shared an update on the upcoming Long Range Transportation Plan, Region X 2055. Draft submissions include 93 projects, with 44 roadway projects, 30 transit projects, and 19 active transportation projects. The BMC team has begun technical project scoring and is working with MTA and SHA on cost estimation. In addition, BMC staff discussed the option for BMC to act as a sponsor agency for multi-jurisdictional projects when asked by multiple jurisdictions and agencies. BMC staff are currently exploring for this project, like like the Patapsco Regional Greenway, and members supported this proposal. For other business, MDOT summarized an urgent TIP amendment request involving Protect funds for a Maryland Port Administration project at the Dundalk Marine Terminal. MDOT will brief the BRTB on this request later today. Finally, there was a closed session to discuss an upcoming RFP for the Transit-Oriented Development Funding and Financing Toolkit and Structural Barriers and Analysis Task. Members supported the release of the RFP. That concludes my report from the technical committee. Thanks, Trey.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions, anything? All right. So, Mr. Lang, please present the present the action items for us today.
Good morning, everyone. Second while I try to get moving. Okay, here we go. Today, the BRTB is being asked to consider Resolution 27-6. This resolution is to add funding to the 2026 and 2029 and the newly adopted 2027 to 2030 Transportation Improvement Program for two MDOT SHA projects in Anne Arundel County. I'm going to turn it over to Zach Kaufman, who is going to present on these two amendments. Zach?
Morning. So in Resolution 27-6, SHA is requesting changes to two projects. The West East Expressway Trail Eastern Extension Project amendment adds a new project to the TIP. The second amendment requests additional funding for the Anne Arundel County Trail Spurs and Connectors project. Both projects have been determined to be exempt from conformity analysis by the ICG, and I'll present a few project details now. So for the first project, the Anne Arundel County Trail Spurs and Connections, this project is adding construction phase funding specifically to be used for the BWI Trail to Corcoran Middle School connection. So the project extends the trail network. As I mentioned, it completes the connections between the BWI Trail to Corcoran Middle School, as well as the BNA Trail to Severna Park High School. Improvements include a 10-foot wide trail, crosswalks, signage and markings, a pedestrian bridge along with boardwalks, culverts, stormwater management, and landscaping. So this amendment in particular adds construction phase funding using Highway Infrastructure Program Community Project Funding, or congressionally directed spending, more commonly known as earmarks, in the amount of $890,000. Carbon reduction program funds in the amount of $1.175 million, and county match in the amount of $516,000. Construction is anticipated to begin early next year and be complete in summer of 2028. And design funding had been previously programmed in the 26 to 29 TIP. So the next project is a new project to both the 26 to 29 and 27 to 2030 TIPs. It's the West East Express Trail Eastern Extension earmark. So that amendment adds construction funding for the project in both the 26 to 29 and 27 to 30 TIPs. Specifically, the project includes a 10-foot wide shared use path along Lowe's Access Road between Calvert Street and Taylor Ave, as well as extending the Poplar Trail to create a continuous active transportation corridor linking Annapolis with the Pearl Town Center. The amendment adds construction funding, again, using that HIP CDS earmark in the amount of 2.75 million, along with a 20% county match in the amount of 688,000. Construction is anticipated to begin this fall and to be completed by the end of 2028. You can contact Alex at SHA for more information, but I'm happy to try to answer any questions if folks have them.
With that, we now ask the BRTB to consider Resolution 27-6.
Thank you. So with that, I also ask a member to move for approval of the resolution of 27-6 and a second. Howard County moves.
Harford County seconds.
I'm sorry, was that Harford?
Harford seconds.
Harford, okay, thank you. Yes, so that was Howard County has moved on the motion and Harford had the second. Does any member of the BRTB have any questions or comments on the resolution? Okay, we now ask if any member of the public has any questions or comments on the resolution. For those online, please indicate you would like to comment in the chat box. Todd, has any member of the public asked for to speak?
Currently, there is no member of the public requesting to speak on this resolution.
All right. We now proceed to the vote. Again, with cameras on. When Rebecca reads your name, please indicate aye or nay.
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County,
Yay.
was that a yes, Anne Arundel County?
Yay.
Oh, thank you. Baltimore City, Baltimore County,
Yay.
Carroll County,
Aye.
Harford County,
Aye.
Howard County,
Aye.
Queen Anne's County,
Aye.
MDOT,
Aye.
and RTA of Central Maryland.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. The resolution has passed. Next action item, please.
Okay, good morning again. Today, the BRTB is being asked to consider Resolution 27-7. This resolution is to adopt targets and for 3 different measures in the CMAX performance plans. I'm going to be presenting this for Nicole Condell. She is available in case there are questions. So today, again, we're going to be looking at the congestion mitigation and air quality performance management plan. For a bit of a refresher, national goals and transportation performance requirements were established in MAP 21 and the subsequent FAST Act. To achieve these goals and requirements, 3 performance measures rules were adopted regarding safety, asset condition, and performance. Each of these rulemakings outlines a variety of specific performance areas and associated measures for which 2- and 4-year targets must be set. The 2 performance areas in focus today are the traffic congestion and on-road mobile source emissions, which together form the congestion mitigation air quality program. The Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Program, or commonly known as CMAQ, allocates funding for projects which contribute to achieving 3 performance measures: annual peak hour of excessive delay, percent of non-SOV, or the portion of non-single occupancy vehicles for commuting to work, and the total emission reductions by CMAQ funded projects. So MPOs serving a large transportation management area that are located in a non-attainment or maintenance area must develop this CMAQ performance plan and set 2- and 4-year targets. This plan must be updated biannually, showing progress on meeting the targets and updating targets as needed. And also include as part this will be included as part of the state biennial performance report. As the BRTB includes a transportation management area population over 1 million, as well as being classified as an ozone non-attainment area, these CMAQ requirements do apply. So the second performance period ended towards the beginning of this year, and as such, there are 2 plans due to Federal Highway Administration in October as part of the state biennial update. One outlining the progress towards the period 2 targets, and the other setting targets for the period 3. The MPO plans are due to MDOT this month to be incorporated in the state plan. We're going to walk through the progress and the proposed targets for each of these measures as outlined in the draft plans. But before we dig into each measure, here's a refresher on the BRTB MPO planning area and the associated urbanized areas. Each measure is associated with different areas and will be outlined momentarily. The key areas to note are the broader BRTB MPO planning area, the Baltimore urbanized area, and the Aberdeen urbanized area. So first up, we have total emission reduction targets. Outlined here are the 2- and 4-year period 2 targets and performance, and the proposed targets for period 3. These targets apply to the MPO planning area. For this measure, the performance must meet or be greater than the target. All period 2 targets were met, except the 4-year VOC target, with a target of 13.63 kilograms in reductions, but only achieving 9.77 kilograms. Factors which may have contributed to the failure to meet this VOC 4-year target include updates to the Environmental Protection Agency's Motor Vehicle Emissions Simulator, or MOVES model, which occurred after the targets were set. This model is used by MDOT as part of a suite of tools to estimate emission benefits. A second factor is that the Maryland Transit Administration anticipated to receive 70 battery electric buses per year to replace diesel buses during the performance period, but only received 20. Additionally, through the performance period, the efficiency of clean diesel buses has increased, making the difference in benefits from replacing clean diesel buses with battery electric buses smaller. Based on estimated emissions anticipated from upcoming CMAQ-funded projects, the proposed 2- and 4-year targets for period 3 are fairly close. For NOx, a 2-year target of 3.440 kilograms is proposed, with a 4-year target of 3.447. For VOC, a 2-year target of 0.050 is proposed, with a 4-year target of 0.057. The specific projects for CMAQ funding will be outlined at the end of this presentation. For comparison, here are the target setting methods outlined in the 2 plans for period 2 and 3. In period 2, emission reduction targets proposed by MDOT were adopted by the BRTB. It is proposed that MDOT targets, as shown on the previous slide, also be adopted for period 3. The results of the period 2 performance were calculated through the Federal Highway CMAQ Public Access System. So next are the targets and performance for peak hour excessive delay, which are set and measured for the Baltimore and Aberdeen urbanized areas separately. This is based on federal requirements which apply to urbanized areas that meet a population size threshold. For this measure, performance must be equal to or lower than the target. In Baltimore, the 2-year target was achieved, whereas the 4-year target was not. The reverse is true for Aberdeen, where the 2-year target was not achieved and the 4-year target was met. Factors that may have contributed to the increases in Baltimore PHED includes increases in travel post-pandemic and the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Additionally, over the performance period, updated urban area boundaries were finalized based on the 2020 census, which adjusted the geographic areas included in the performance assessment. Based on the projections from historic data, the proposed Baltimore 2 and 4-year targets for period 3 are 23.3 and 27.6 hours. The 2 and 4-year proposed targets for Aberdeen are 7.4 and 7.6 hours. Oops, apologize. For comparison, again, here are the target setting methods outlined in the two plans for the period 2 and period 3. In period 2, PHED targets were developed in coordination with MDOT, SHA based on trends and projections from prior years. The proposed period 3 targets, as shown on the previous slide, were also developed based on trends and projection estimates in coordination with Maryland State Highway Administration. The results of the period 2 performance were calculated through the RIDIS database. For a more detailed look at the PHED target setting methods, this graph shows the forecasted performance for period 3 for the Baltimore urbanized area, and that targets were set to align with this forecast. For the Aberdeen urbanized area, past trends vary year by year as opposed to a steady incline. Therefore, the forecasted 2-year target was adjusted upward to the highest point in performance period 2, and the 4-year targets are set slightly higher to account for the forecasted rising trend. For percent non-SOV or single occupancy vehicles, performance is also measured per urban area. Performance must be higher than or meet the target in order to be achieved. In both urbanized areas, percent non-SOV increased over period 2 and met the 2 and 4-year targets. The increase in teleworking and hybrid work schedules after the pandemic could be a factor contributing to the greater percentage of non-SOV travel. Based on projections from historic data, the proposed Baltimore 2 and 4-year targets for period 3 are 34 and 35%. The 2 and 4-year proposed targets for Aberdeen are 25 and 26%. Regarding non-SOV methodology, similar to the PHED, period 2 targets were developed in coordination with MDOT SHA based on trends and projections from prior years. The proposed period 3 targets, as shown on the previous slide, were also developed based on trends and projections in coordination with MDOT SHA. The results of the period 2 performance were calculated through the U.S. Census American Community Survey 5-year data. For a closer look at percent non-SOV target setting methods, here are the previous and forecasted performance for the Baltimore area. Targets were set below forecasted values due to the uncertainty around the continued increase in work from home policies, as well as uncertainty about the funding priorities in new transportation bill on the federal side. However, long-term, there is still a desire to see higher levels of non-SOV travel in the region. So the 4-year target was set slightly higher than the current baseline. Similar for the Aberdeen area, targets were set below forecasted value due to the uncertainty around continued increase in work from home and the uncertainty of new funding and transportation. However, again, long-term, there is still a desire to see higher levels of non-SOV in the region, so 4-year targets were set slightly higher than the current baseline. A list of anticipated CMAQ projects for period 3 were provided by MDOT, as shown here. This includes bus replacements and ride-sharing programs. The anticipated emission reductions are listed here for both of these projects, and while the bus replacement project will not address congestion reduction, the rideshare project does. So here are the contact information for Nicole Condell and Anna Marshall from our staff who have been working diligently on this program. and hopefully I have done them justice by presenting this information. Right now, we'd like to turn it back to the chair and again, ask for consideration of Resolution 27-7.
Thank you, Todd. I now ask a member to move for approval of the resolution 27-7 in a second.
Queen Anne's County will make a motion to approve.
Anne Arundel, second.
Thank you. That was Queen Anne for the motion, Anna Arundel for the second. Does any BRT member have any questions or comments on the resolution? Hearing none, we now ask if any member of the public has any questions or comments on the resolution. For those online, please indicate if you would like to comment in the chat box. Todd, is any member of the public asked to speak?
Chair, currently there is no one requesting to speak in the chat box.
Thank you. We'll now proceed to the vote. Again, with cameras on, when Rebecca reads your name, please indicate aye or nay.
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County,
Aye.
Baltimore City, Baltimore County,
Aye.
Carroll County,
Aye.
Harford County,
Aye.
Howard County,
Aye.
Queen Anne's County,
Aye.
MDOT,
Aye.
and RTA of Central Maryland.
Aye.
Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you. Resolution has passed. Now we'll have Miss Eileen Singleton from the BMC. We asked the BRTB to adopt a proclamation for the Crash Responder Safety Week to take place from November 2nd to November 6th, 2026.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and talk about requesting support for National Crash Responder Safety Week. Next slide. So Crash Responder Safety Week is a national effort by the Federal Highway Administration. It was started in 2016. And as the chair mentioned, this year, Crash Responder Safety Week, or CRSW, will be from November 2nd through the 6th. The purpose of CRSW is to focus on the common goal and responsibility for safe, quick roadway clearance, specifically reminding all road users to slow down, move over, and remain alert when approaching traffic incident activity, and encouraging all traffic incident responders to complete the National Traffic Incident Management Responder Training. And as you can see, the daily focus list each day of Crash Responder Safety Week has a different theme. Next slide, please. I also wanted to highlight that this year, again, the MDOT State Highway Administration is hosting an event in support of CRSW, and this year's event will be held in October 17th at the SHA Hanover Complex. It's a great family-friendly activity where members of the public can come and meet responders and learn about what agencies do and the importance of trying to keep responders safe. And you can touch a truck there, so it's a great event if anyone is interested. I've heard great things about it. Okay, last slide. So the reason that I'm here is to ask for your support for the proclamation and recognition of CRSW. And this slide provides several excerpts from the proclamation. And I just want to highlight a couple of things from this slide. The first, the paragraph in red, it says that last year, at least 36 responders were struck and killed while responding to traffic incidents. That's nationwide. And it also includes the Maryland tow operator, Sendel Elias de la Cruz. So far this year, at least 20 responders have been struck and killed, including MDOT SHA Chart Emergency Response Technician Robert Dempsey. So I've seen from when the Maryland responders have been struck, how it affects the agencies, and so it's not just affecting the family, but their colleagues as well, and how the agency is affected when one of their own is killed. I also want to highlight that we have a traffic incident management committee of the BRTB, and that group has been working since 2000 with multiple response agencies to advance responder safety and public education through training, meetings, conferences, resources, and public awareness efforts. So right now, I just want to conclude by thanking you for your support of Crash Responder Safety Week and for signing the proclamation in support of this initiative this year. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, instead of a roll call vote, could you just call for a group I if everyone supports this proclamation?
Yes. So for all the BRTB members in support of this, please say aye.
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 All right. It is moving. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, we have Ms. Charlene Mingus, who will present the new branding and wayfinding system for the Patapsco Regional Greenway.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me today. You can go to the next slide. In 2017, the BRTB approved a plan for the Patapsco Regional Greenway. The PRG plan envisions a 40-mile trail running through the Patapsco Valley from Sykesville in Carroll County to Baltimore's Inner Harbor. To date, over 18 miles of the PRG are already constructed or open for use, and other segments are currently in the design phase, which includes segments that the BRTB has led 30% design of in partnership with member jurisdictions. Next slide. In 2025, on behalf of the BRTB, BMC and local and state partners began developing a cohesive wayfinding system for the PRG. Since the PRG crosses multiple jurisdictions and includes different types of trails and user experiences, having a consistent branding and wayfinding helps it all feel connected and makes the PRG recognizable as one regional trail system. So as new segments are built by different agencies, users should experience consistent look and feel, easy navigation between jurisdictions, clear information conveyed, improved safety and emergency response, and a recognizable regional brand. And these guidelines provide a framework that agencies can implement while maintaining local ownership of their facilities. So, next slide. The goal of the guidelines was to create a framework that integrates local, regional, state, and national trail branding guidelines while providing practical guidance for agencies responsible for implementing and maintaining the Greenway. So a coordinated wayfinding systems helps users navigate the network with confidence by communicating trail rules and permitted uses and guiding users through trail and roadway connections. Importantly, promoting destination and regional trail links as well, and by supporting emergency response through consistent location identification. The system also strengthens the visibility and identity of the PRG, which will help encourage more people to explore the trail network and the communities that it connects. So next slide. The visual identity for the PRG was inspired by the natural and cultural landscapes that define the corridor. Through stakeholder engagement and surveys, project partners expressed a strong preference for a design approach rooted in the region's natural character, including the Patapsco River, surrounding forests, waterfalls, and native flora. Building on this feedback, the brand design incorporates colors, forms, and graphic elements that reflect the Greenway's diverse environments. The palette draws inspiration from river and wooded landscapes, seasonal vegetation, and the sign forms and graphic details are informed by the flowing movement of water and the interconnected nature of the trail network. References to the corridor's historic bridges and infrastructure further reinforce the PRG's unique sense of place. Together, these elements create a wayfinding system that is recognizable, welcome, and distinctly tied to the landscape and communities of the PRG. Next slide. It's important to have a versatile logo system that can accommodate a range of applications. So to account for this, a number of logo formats and color options have been created, as you can see on the slide. So the guidelines established an official PRG logo, which is included here, color palette, typography, logo variations, logo usage standards, minimum sizing, and clear space requirements. So next slide. The sign family includes both trail signs, such as trailhead, trail identification, decision signs, mile markers, and ground markings, and then on-road signs, including street decision, confirmation, street trail name, and placards and ground markings. So next slide. The signs, especially the on-road signs, were designed to follow the community wayfinding guidance of the MUTCD, the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, which allows some flexibility to customize signs for a specific area. Using the same PRG branding, both on road and off-road signs, helps everything feel connected and gives users consistent wayfinding they can recognize and rely on. So next slide. There's some core principles for the wayfinding guidelines, which include being consistent so that signs are predictable. Regular placement helps users know what to expect and feel confident that they're on the right route. Keeping it simple, so easy to understand at a glance without overwhelming with too much detail. Be inclusive. Signs should work for as many people as possible, including people with vision disabilities or limited English proficiency, and large readable text and high contrast colors also make signs easier to see while moving quickly, say on a bicycle or in bad weather. So, and finally, designed for the inexperienced user. So wayfinding should work for somebody who's never used the trail before, as regular users, aren't relying on signage as much, but first-time users certainly are. So let's see, sign placement plays a key role in the effectiveness of the wayfinding system. So keeping sign placement consistent helps users learn the system, know what to look for, and feel confident that they're on the right route. So the manual provides guidance on selecting the appropriate sign type, consistent sign placement, sign spacing, co-locating with existing signs, map orientation, and ways to reduce sign clutter to help convey the information more clearly. So on the next slide, you'll see a decision matrix or flow chart that helps guide decision-making about which sign types to use based on the information needs of a specific location. So it's, I think it's a really nice little element that the consultants included that can help with decision-making. So next slide. The benefits of a regional system include improved navigation, creating consistent user experience, strengthening the PRG identity, promoting regional destinations, supporting tourism and recreation, improving emergency location, and making future trail expansions easier to integrate. So next slide. Since the PRG crosses multiple jurisdictions, individual agencies will generally be responsible for installing wayfinding improvements within their own jurisdictions. And as the PRG continues to grow and new segments are built, the network will connect more communities and destinations, and wayfinding needs will grow and change along with it. So the guidelines are meant to evolve along with the PRG as new needs, technologies, and opportunities come up and partner agencies can work to update and expand the guidance while keeping the overall PRG identity and wayfinding experience consistent. So next slide. That's all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlene. Any questions from anyone? All right. Thank you. Thank you again. Under other business, MDOT will now comment on an emergency action that was brought to the BRTB Executive Committee. Jeff?
Thank you. Yeah, we brought in a emergency request for a TIP amendment for the Dundalk Marine Terminal Resiliency and Flood Mitigation Project. This is a project that's already in the TIP, but we are seeking to add $40 million, a combination of $17 million of Protect funding, $15.8 million of STBG, and state matching funds. We are doing this because in the process of doing the work in the field, despite doing multiple borings to test for soil contamination prior to the project, we ran into unexpected contamination during the construction of the box culvert, and that has potentially increased the cost pretty significantly. So we are requesting this amendment in order to basically create the space to accommodate those cost increases. We are still, frankly, trying to get a handle on exactly what they're going to be. So we put in something that we believe would cover sort of the outer bounds of it. That is at least our hope and anticipation, and that's what the amendment is for. Any questions from anyone?
All right. Hearing none. Thank you, Jeff.
Sure, thank you.
All right. Is there any other business to come before the BRTB? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote to close the meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Have a good day.
Aye.
The next meeting of the BRTB will be virtual on Tuesday, September 29th. Thank you all and have a great day.